is up, everybody? It's the BFF show. I'm Brendan.
I'm Franco.
It's been a while. We are back. I'm excited. I got hyped up. I'm wearing a red shirt. It is a running shirt, so it is free-flowing. In case I sweat during the show, Franco, I'm going to be fine. I want you to know that because you can't see it. And I want the audience to know that because I feel it tonight, Franco.
Good. I mean, it's better than a tank top. So there's that.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that because you hurt my feelings because you attacked my tanks, and I don't want to derail the show with less than a minute in, so I'm going to just have to move past it, Franco, but don't mess with my tanks.
Deal, I guess.
You didn't really defend that position. You were just kind of like, all right, fine, he likes tanks.
If we set up a hierarchy of concerns for the BFF show, your predominance of wearing tank tops somewhere here, the fact we went dark on our viewers for about 2 weeks because I really wasn't feeling like recording is somewhere up here, and the highest thing is probably the fact that our IMDb page got abandoned after 6 updates on my part. So tanks down here. Is
it still active or no?
It is. I just stopped putting episodes in because I got tired of doing it.
That's okay. I do want to ask, because this is pressing news, you have wanted to, you were begging at the before we recorded to do a review of the Coke that you're drinking. No, you weren't. But what are you drinking, Franco? It's interesting to me because it's a new flavor.
Yeah, so Diet Coke, and this is not an endorsement of Diet Coke.
No.
I don't even know if we should show the label. We won't. I don't want to pay.
Well, you already did, so I think we're already in there. It popped up in frame. So.
All right. Well, I can cut it because I'm editing king. Just released 3 new flavors. Like, one is zesty blood orange, one is twisted mango, which makes it sound like there's alcohol in it, but there's not. And the other is like something cherry. And I'm happy to report that at least 2 of them are gross. It is horrible. And I saw the commercial and I thought maybe I should try it. And I should have known when I went to the gas station to see if they had any. There were none. That's the telltale sign that these are going to be gone in the next month.
I stick with regular flavoring. I don't venture out. I liked vanilla Coke.
I love vanilla Coke.
Pepsi. But then if you read the label, it's full of extra sugar and disgusting things for you. So it's not a good choice, but whatevs. So I give you a lot of credit. The SodaStream, not that's not what I'm talking about. I forget the formal name, but those machines that they now have at most movie theaters where you can do.
The mix-up ones.
Yeah,
those are awesome.
They're intimidating because I don't necessarily like having that much choice. I think that it is too much. They should limit it. It becomes almost like an algorithm where I'm like, all right, if I hit this Coke, but I want the non-caffeine, then I got 9 or to 15 different flavor choices. It's too much. And quite frankly, they all kind of end up tasting the same because it's coming from the same spout. So it's not even the purest form of that particular soda you're looking for.
I want to point out that you're now a soda fountain snob, and that's a hard thing to do because I worked at a movie theater, and I know how gross the soda fountains are and how little upkeep is done on them. So you probably should be thanking that they're all housed in one machine because the cleanliness factor is a little higher than if they have individual nozzles with the things pumping it back.
I mean, I'll be straight up honest. I like dirty movie theaters. I think the popcorn tastes better and the soda tastes more chemically. So I'm all for it. So if you're a dirty movie theater and you want to advertise, bring it on down. We'll do it on Am Premiere, I guess. I don't know. We would wear I would wear the T-shirt of a dirty movie theater.
I mean, as long as you don't accept money for it and you're just a big fan, that's totally fine.
So
we're like the NCAA over here, by the way. Being on public access, there's only so many things we can do. So we can, earn them attention and get awards and stuff, but we can't personally profit off of it without having to pay for our airtime. So it's like, sure, play basketball on NBC and make a lot of other people millions of dollars while you're struggling to buy a burrito. But thank you. Here's a degree that you're not going to finish anyway because you're one and done. Yeah.
Well, you had a good time at our college. You got your degree.
I did, but I was not an NCAA level basketball player.
But you're NCAA
But
swimmer.
I will say my athlete status did probably benefit me in a number of situations where it shouldn't have. So,
No,
cheers.
you actually went to when you were. I would say you showed up to class. I don't know if I would say that you were 100% engaged in said classes. I think that's a fair statement, but you showed up.
That's a very fair statement, but I did have the knowing ability to absorb information very quickly, which I know made you very angry on a number of occasions.
I think it was just, it was just one course that we took where you would listen to the Howard Stern show, and I was fully engaged, and you would do consistently better on all the quizzes and tests than I did, and I was trying, and I think that's what made me upset. I was like, ugh, I wish I could just roll in, have a sleep, listen to Howard Stern, and then get 90% of the material. It's a talent.
Sometimes it's talent, it's luck, and I wish I could tell you the skills benefited me later in life, but it's one of those, oh well.
You just haven't found the right way to apply it yet.
I want to point out, too, how dated of a reference that is, because given our current social climate and everything else, the Howard Stern show probably would not. I mean, it still exists, mind you, on one of those satellite radio things that have gone the way of the dinosaur, but it probably wouldn't fly on modern airwaves, I don't think.
No, not anymore. I mean, I think it's not now we're going on this tangent. I'll go down this road.
Let's go down the road.
Let's go down the road. I think that Stern show from the early 80s to late 90s for sure would never exist on modern radio.
No.
Stern show now is a lot tamer, and he's more involved with interviews. So he's kind of pivoted toward the interviews are more important. They still, it's still cursing, so it still wouldn't fly in that regard. But I think even from a content perspective, it might actually maybe fly more than his original radio show did now than it did then. So it's an interesting conversation because I think you're right, Franco. Howard Stern back in the day would not have made it. He would have been thrown off the air so fast.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting balance in media because we have things like South Park and Family Guy, which are very much way over the line with what we consider acceptable with domestic violence and sexual assault and all these things. They do it with an animated show, whereas Stern didn't go that route, but definitely the content was explicit because he was saying it to real people. I don't know if it's just a very interesting dichotomy we're at now, and I think we're kind of facing a very interesting divide in culture, and it's going to be curious to see how new media catches up and where we end up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you and I have talked like, oh, wouldn't it be great to do a show on a major network or be more out there? But at the same time, I kind of like our little area where we're in now because I feel like it is hard. I don't know how we would I think we'd be fine in the long run, but I think we would have a learning curve of understanding how far we can go before we get pulled back to the a safe zone, if you will, of what makes the content managers, not necessarily the producers and the generators, but the content managers happy.
I think you're absolutely right. I think we would go the route of Jamel Hill. Like we would be eventually cycled out for some of our opinions. And I'm pretty sure ESPN or NBC wouldn't let us attack them as much as AMP does. I give full credit to AMP for, one, not watching our show, and two, really letting us cut loose with the indictment of AMP, even though it's in a joking manner, because we do love AMP. But
I love AMP. AMP Premier. Again, I think I maintain, change the name. AMP 1, no. AMP Premier, yes.
I'm down. So thanks, AMP, for always letting us be exactly who we are.
Yeah, I appreciate that. All right, and on that note, let's talk sports. Franco, did you know there's a Winter Olympics going on?
I do. I've watched some of it, but I know you're going somewhere with this, so I'll let you start your vibe.
All right, so here's the thing. I never really enjoyed the Winter Olympics, even because as a kid, my mom would obsessively watch the figure skating, and that was the only thing I watched, and I thought, this is so incredibly boring to me, and I hated the Winter Olympics because it would take off my regular TV shows. And this was before cable and the internet allowed you to watch almost all the sports, actually not even almost all the sports of the Olympics, and before they had split them to CNBC, MSNBC, and NBC Sports Network, and all these other stations that will randomly pop in and dive in and out of Olympic coverage. So you really only had the major network coverage, and that was primarily figure skating in the prime time because that's what people like to watch. And then if you got lucky and you happened to be home from school, if you got like sick, it was a good time to get sick because that's when CBS Daytime or NBC Daytime would cover the majority of the Olympics, which they don't do now. They stick to their regular programming and then go into prime time. But so I've never really gotten into the Olympics, Franco, and I tried watching different stuff. I think it's just I don't understand beyond the basics of the sports like hockey and bobsled. I get like go fast, but there's certain things like the snowboarding where they're sprouting out different names for tricks. I don't understand what constitutes a better score over one trick versus the other. I don't necessarily understand the technical aspect of figure skating. I don't understand even sometimes the positions or the way you have to go down in a bobsled. It's funny that we as a collective country don't care at all about any of these sports for the majority of the time, and then all try and pretend like we care for 2 weeks.
No one's pretending. You're in America, damn it. We care about things for about 2 minutes at a time. So the Olympics is really and not really all the Olympics. The first week of the Olympics is really about our attention span as a society, and so we nail it down for that first week of the Olympics.
Yeah.
You outlaid a lot. I think when I was younger, I used to watch ice skating because you had Christy Yamaguchi, and my man was Brian Boitano.
That's a good
I wish I could remember why I cared about him when he was ice skating. I actually saw him on NBC coverage, and he looks like a creep. He kind of looks like Chris Angel got mixed with Scott Bakula.
Yeah.
But I watched that a lot. And Cool Runnings was a godsend to the Winter Olympics because for a while there, bobsled was actually watched. Do I care it's happening? Of course. I want USA to win and so on and so forth, etc. Do I make appointments to watch it now? And the nice thing is we have on demand now, so if you really wanted to watch it, you could, but even then I don't. I will say I did waste an hour and a half in the last week watching curling. Mostly because I saw it once on an LFMAO video, which was fantastic, with a cameo by Jamie Foxx, but I don't understand the game. It's more to make fun of the different characters because curling athletes are some weird dudes. And it's entertaining as hell. I'm not going to be like Christy Alley. Did you see this on the news?
No.
With 10 words, Christy Alley basically said curling is boring as AF, is what we'll say. And she got pooped on by all society. And in fact, one curling player, because they're old, made a Cheers joke that Diane is better than Christy Alley's character, which she is,
yes,
actually.
I agree with that.
But it's
That's
more funny that it was referenced. But yeah, so I've watched curling. I'm down with it because you can be like a bad '90s villain and be on a curling team, and I'm totally into that idea. How about you? Have you watched anything?
Ironically, figure skating. I've watched that. Once again, primetime television. That's when I've popped in. I did watch a little bit of, again, some skiing and snowboarding. The one thing that I did watch and found and sought out was, I don't know if you heard the story about Elizabeth Swanee, who's an American who ended up skiing for Finland. And essentially, she's not a professional. She was born to a very rich family and was able to get enough points to qualify by essentially paying or essentially just showing up to all of the qualifying sports, all of them, being able to fly wherever she wanted to and not fall. That's essentially the criteria that got her into the Olympics. So if you see it and it's skiing, it's supposed to be tricks, but she just kind of goes back and forth and kind of hops a little bit and then comes back down. The announcers really struggle with kind of figuring out why this is happening. But Deadspin did an excellent article about 5 or 6 other athletes in the history of the Winter Games that have done this. And they even talked about a woman that was a famous pop star violinist in the early 90s and gave that up to be a ski bum. And that's her word. She wanted to be a ski bum. She was tired of her parents pressuring her. So she actually paid money to a ski club to host qualifying events so that she could get in under the cut and actually go to the Nagano Olympics. She was dead last and was dead last by 11 seconds because it was a slalom, and she just literally went down like you would if you were going recreational skiing. There was no speed, there was no finesse. It was literally like, oh, someone is just casually on an Olympic course. But she got to say that she was an Olympian. So that's the fascinating stuff. All these random people that have maybe bought their way, and the IOC supposedly is trying to shore up these gaps where people can, like you and me, if we just had enough money, Franco could just roll in and be an Olympian. They're trying to make it more about those who are truly dedicated and the best of the best. But I find these stories hilarious, so that's piqued my interest. Now I'm researching who else might be someone that you would never consider as a true Olympian, but they have enough money to just say, like, I guess I got nothing else going on, so I'm going to put on my resume that I was Olympian. That's what I'm here for right now with the Olympics.
That's a whole lot of buckets of sad. It's interesting.
I know, right?
And you have great stories like Eddie the Eagle, who probably shouldn't have been in Olympic Games, but at least was like an uplifting story, and he was really throwing himself off the top of things.
Yeah.
I think they made a terrible Russell Crowe movie out of it, but that's inspiring.
I think they did, yeah.
The woman kind of chilling on the moguls, like if I'm going to back my way into the Olympics with my money, you best believe I'm going down the thing as fast as possible. I'm going to wreck as better than anybody else has ever wrecked in my ever seen. You can't do anything halfway. If you're on the big stage, go for it.
You gotta
worst comes to worst, you're on ESPN top 20 of the year for saddest moments.
So that's hey, listen, and straight up honest. If you're watching this show right now, looking for Olympic coverage, you clearly didn't watch any other episodes before this. So I'm very sorry if you waited this long, but we're moving on to a new subject. We're done with this, and maybe next week we'll recap something Olympian. Franco, just put that out there. So if you want to come back and see if we really talk about actual true sports in there, we probably won't, but maybe we will. Maybe it'll be a surprise. So come on back next time. But we are going to get to our bread and butter, Franco, and that is the WWE, the Elimination Chamber. It is a Raw exclusive pay-per-view. It is this Sunday, emanating live from Las Vegas. We'll take a look at the two big matches. There's a Women's Elimination Chamber and a Men's Elimination Chamber this year. The Men Elimination Chamber is, I believe, it's the Finn Balor, it is The Miz, it is Elias, it is John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman for not the WWE Championship, right? I think this is a opportunity to be the number one contender to the WWE Championship and face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So, Franco, what are your initial thoughts about this matchup?
I mean, I know who should win.
Yeah.
And that's Braun Strowman. Or The Miz, I'll be honest, because The Miz is one of the best heel acts ever. But I knew who's going to win, Roman Reigns. So, I mean, this has been an inevitable build. To tie it back to the Olympics, we've kind of went down the hill, and there's only one way to go now, and it's all going to end with Roman Reigns being number one contender for Brock Lesnar's title. So this is where we're going to be, and it makes me not care nearly as much. But where are you at with it?
I love Finn Balor. I would love to see him win. I know that was part of what they were planning for the Royal Rumble. But Balor's in a program with The Miz, so those two are going to cancel out. You have Elias and John Cena in a mini program. They're going to cancel each other out. So it really comes down to whether or not they pull the trigger on Braun Strowman or Roman Reigns. I have a bad feeling that Roman Reigns is just going to beat. I don't think he'll beat Braun Strowman. I feel like Strowman is going to get eliminated in a weird way, or just eliminated by he takes everybody's finisher. It does seem another inevitable road to WrestleMania that involves Roman Reigns, and it's just tiresome at this point. And I mean, I hold out hope maybe they'll do something exciting, and then maybe still throw him in later. Maybe make it Braun Strowman wins and then a triple threat. I don't know, but I think I'm doing better booking than WWE right now. So I think it's just going to be Roman Reigns. It's going to bum us out, Franco. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I expect that. But the next match, please.
So we have the Women's Elimination Chamber, and that is for the WWE Women's Championship, the Raw Championship. That is actually no, it's not. Is it? It is. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. I was looking
Yeah.
at something different.
Alexa Bliss is in the match, right? So
Yeah, Alexa
yeah.
Bliss, Bailey, Sasha Banks, and then I'm blanking. I know Mickey James, and I'm looking at just the pictures. I don't remember Mandy something and another woman from Absolution. I don't remember
Mandy
their names.
Rose is the name you're looking for.
Thank you very much.
And Sonya Deville?
Deville, there you go. Sonya
Yeah.
Deville. Good job, Franco. You've been watching Raw. So, what are your thoughts on this particular matchup?
That moment was literally back to college where I just have to watch something once and I absorb it, not me watching Raw. I think the only logical thing here to do is to have Bliss retain, and then we kind of see the payoff of maybe the Nia Jax Bliss storyline that's been built for a long time before Nia Jax kind of got lost in the Enzo Amore disaster before coming back. Unfortunately, I think it's going to take a backseat to another women's event, which is the signing by Ronda Rousey, which I could literally care less about, but the sports world will, and they're going to make it the main event, I think. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think we also have Nia Jax versus Asuka, which I think is for the chance for the title match at WrestleMania. I think Asuka still wins. I think they're building toward an Asuka Alexa Bliss match at WrestleMania, and Asuka wins, and then immediately probably loses the belt to Ronda Rousey at some point.
Yep.
I think they will probably do some sort of stare down that no one will really care about between Asuka and Ronda Rousey again. I hope they don't keep Rousey for last, quite honestly, because that was kind of a letdown last pay-per-view at the Royal Rumble. But maybe they do it right before the last match. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. This is a weird pay-per-view where I don't really care. I mean, we have Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy. Don't really care. I think there's another match on there, but again, this is one of those where I'm like, I don't know. And I was thinking about going to see this live at one point, but it's the Elimination Chamber, Franco, and I think when you see that live, you can't really see much. So I think it's better to watch this type of pay-per-view at home. But overall,
No, I agree.
I'm not really that invested in any of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that lull between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania where it's kind of meh. Now we have to tie up storylines because we have one guy going after the SmackDown belt. In other news, they did announce that this year will be the end of split brand pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Which means they're already abandoning their idea literally a year into it, which I'm a little surprised about.
Yeah, I think this is going to be difficult for those superstars that are on the lower tier, Franco. I mean, I'm looking at, like, on SmackDown, a guy like Ty Dillinger, which I enjoy watching. I don't know if there's going to be room for him on these pay-per-views unless they jump him to the pre-show or... they're going to have to do a lot of work now on SmackDown and Raw to make you care about this. But I kind of expected that it would go this way. I think that there's also rumors that Fox is interested in buying the rights when they become available in the next year after USA, and then USA might not retain the rights. So you're probably looking at WWE leadership saying we can't walk into a room and try to deal these TV rights with arenas that aren't fully at capacity here and full attendance. So I think that's probably another reason why they're banning it. I think it makes it an interesting discussion. Then why have two separate belts again? This goes back to that discussion. If you're going to just keep rolling out the same champions, or they're on the same show. So I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how they kind of work that out. Did they alternate which championship is available at what time, or is it just all championships could be available depending on the storyline? That makes it's going to be interesting to see how they layer this out.
No, I agree, and I think this will be the death of this brand split. So within the next year, it'll be gone, and then 4 years from now, it'll come back. I think we'll continually alternate here and there, but yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think you're right. I think the deal with Fox motivated it, and this is the world we live in now. Get used to it.
Get used to it. And before we go, I do wanted to get this in. We didn't talk too much about Super Bowl, which is fine. You can get that elsewhere. But we want to talk about next year. So, Franco, give me a very, very early, very, very bold prediction of what two teams are going to be in this next Super Bowl.
I'm going to go completely off the cuff.
Okay.
Left field. I'm saying San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Ooh, I like that.
Boom.
All right,
What's your prediction?
I'm
If
gonna
you
go.
wanted an explanation, it's not coming because it's completely off the
Oh.
cuff. I didn't put a lot of forethought into it.
Yeah, no, I don't
So-
want to give any. I'm not gonna give you any
Okay.
explanation for this one either. I'm gonna go with Super Bowl. I'm gonna go in the AFC. It's gonna be the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
Yep. And then I'm gonna pick the 49ers also. Actually, I was thinking that that's probably it's either that or the Rams. I think it's an NFC West world for the right. See how I did that? For right now. And I don't think you see Atlanta. I don't think you see the Eagles come back. I don't know. I mean, that's a magical ride that they had. So, but I think NFC West is now going to be in the preseason at least the most interesting division with the Rams, the Seahawks, resurgent 49ers, and then yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. Every year we do this, and every year we're wrong. So there you go.
All right, Franco,
Actually,
what'd you learn
I think
today?
last year I said Seahawks Patriots. So I wasn't that far
You
off.
did. You were pretty close. You were pretty close.
Yeah.
Franco, what'd you learn?
I learned that I have no idea when Westworld will again air, and your very punny joke made me think that it might be never. What'd you learn?
I learned that I like gross soda, and I admitted that for the first time in public. So I feel ashamed, but I feel relieved.
Isn't it like a giant weight being lifted off your shoulders?
It is. Finally, I can be who I am, Franco. And I like dirty soda.
Fly away. Fly away,
By the
Brendan.
way, for the BFF show, my name's Brendan.
I'm Franco.
Bye!
Peace.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.